Does the perfect homestead exist? Even though we've had, some cold days here and it's been snowy, I did go in to our barn and I cleaned it up for about an hour or so. This was like the rough cleaning, and I still got quite a bit of work, but at least you can move around in here. We had a lot of old feed bags and just stuff that shouldn't have been out here. Actually, it was hard to walk in this area before. So let me give you a quick little tour of our kind of cleaned up barn at least. This here, of course, is trash, most of that. We got 2 stalls in here. We only use our stalls these days if we have a sick or hurt animal, or if it's going to be, a really bad storm or something. My wife with the horses, she says a lot that barns are more for people than they are for horses. Horses like to be outside with the other horses. We have run-in sheds. We have horse blankets to put on them if it gets too cold. And they also have a winter coats they grow. But we do have these 2 stalls available for sick animals. We've had our pigs in here before. And this is the first winter that our pigs are outside in their own little hut. But here's our little barn. I don't really show you the barn too much, but we have those metal bins are a great way to keep mice out of your feed bins. It definitely helps, but sometimes we do have a mouse problem in here. There's all our saddles and such, our horse gear. We haven't been able to ride much with the weather and having the baby, but hopefully this spring we'll be riding our new trails a lot more. So yeah, here's our little barn. It ain't much, but it was one of the selling points of our farm is having a barn. And it's like we've done a little bit of work in here. We've added those cabinets. I guess we haven't changed the barn too much in the 7 years we've been here, but I guess it's time to feed. Let's go outside and feed the animals in the snow. Hey, Biscuit. Hey, buddy. This is our newest horse, Biscuit. He's a Norwegian Fjord. Hey, buddy. As soon as it gets nice out, we'll be riding you again, buddy. Check out that beautiful mane, though, huh? Hey, buddy. Wyatt. Wyatt the donkey. There's Biscuit. Hey, Biscuit. Izzy. Wyatt there. Corn dog's behind him. There's Dakota. Okay, so normally we put our hay bale in the hay hut, but this hay bale was our last one. And it fell apart on us. The strings weren't too good, so we just had to put it in our yard pasture. Not our best scenario, not what we wanted to do, but kind of what we had to do, but that's okay. Let's feed these guys. Okay, I got the horses fed. There was a little bit of ice on their horse trough. That's one of our challenges, is water in the front pasture. We got 2 long hoses, those 0G hoses, if you've ever heard of them. We have automatic waters up top, but down here in the winter time, we got to worry about the water freezing. We always got to make sure that there's enough water in there. Luckily this morning there really wasn't any ice, but I got my icebreaker stick next to it. to break the ice, and that's always, you know, something we got to do for the front pasture. Some other challenges on our homestead is just the steepness of it. Our front gate's at about 2,600 feet. The very top of the property is at 3,400 feet. So pretty steep. We don't really have anywhere flat unless we've made it flat for the most part. Our front pasture is flat, I guess, and our riding ring and a round pen here. Here's a round pen. Those are both flat in places. We have a tiered garden that has kind of made use of the steepness. Let me show you that. There's our tiered garden here. But steepness is definitely a struggle on our homestead. Even though we have 20 acres, a lot of it is steep woods. But again, we got a trail system going if you've been following our channel. So we've been working on being able to access and enjoy our back pasture, or our backwoods even more. I really want to get a side-by-side or even a four-wheeler, but with a family, a side-by-side would be the best thing. Okay, it is time to feed the chickens and our 2 turkeys. We only got we got 9 chickens right now. We're gonna get more in the spring, maybe some silkies, sell those locally. We got a decent incubator finally. But yeah, so our chickens and turkeys all live in this coop here. I got more plans to improve it. It's just, you know, time and money. That's another challenge on the homestead, time and money. With the steepness of our property, we also deal with a lot of mud. Mud. Okay, I'm back in the barn. I got the pig food. Sorry, extreme close-up. Got to open the door here. Okay, we are going to feed our pigs. And I titled this video, Does a Perfect Homestead Exist? And I've thought about that a lot. We bought this farm, our family farm, about 7 years ago. And it was not bare land. There was a house, the barn, and the chicken coop. But everything else, for the most part, I guess this round pen was here. But most of what you see in our videos, we have built. We've put fencing up, a garden space. I have my bee area, my apiary, the riding ring, the horse run-ins, new trails, she shed, man shed, tree house. There's a tree house. Though I'm going to actually be working on the tree house. I got some work to do. So when we bought our farm, it was a lot different than it is right now. I think no matter what your price range is, what you want to do, you're always going to be, you know, wanting to do something else with homesteading. And I think that's the joy of homesteading, is that there's so much you can do that you may not even be thinking of when you buy a property. So I would always suggest get as big of a property as you can initially afford, because your dreams are probably going to change. When we got the farm, I wasn't thinking about beekeeping, and that's one of my favorite things to do now. The trails again, it's taken us 7 years to get those trails going, but that's not something that was initially in our long-term plans. And even this farm is about 40 minutes from where I work, but that's a sacrifice I was willing to make because where I work in Asheville, North Carolina, very, very expensive. We did look for farms there, but we could have only afforded maybe a 3-acre farm that probably had a house on it and maybe a barn, but probably not even a barn. So by coming out 40 miles away, we were able to afford a 20-acre property, which is just beautiful out here. So I think when you're buying your homestead, you know, you got to make sacrifices. What are you willing to not have anymore, right? And I don't even like to look at it that way. I look at it at, you know, what have I gained? I've gained so much here. A lot of family time, hikes in our woods. We have a couple creeks and springs. So we have salamanders we can look for, and native plants, and making maple syrup and beekeeping. Here's one of our horses, Dakota. Hey, buddy. So, does a perfect homestead exist? I don't think there is a perfect homestead, but it could be perfect for you, right? Yes, I would love, you know, to have more land. I would love a pond. A pond is on my wish list. Is this a property to have a pond? I don't know. But I think sometimes people get jealous, maybe even watching these, I guess, homestead channels that have these amazing properties. They didn't start there probably, and if they did, they probably had help to get there, right? So I wouldn't view, you know, looking at a homestead channel on YouTube as, you know, it's like, don't be jealous. This is hard work, people. You also don't know where people are coming from or how much work they've done to get to where they're at, right? So I definitely encourage people, if you want to get into homesteading, like, you know, start where you're at. It may be an apartment. It may be the city. You may have a backyard. You may already have some big property somehow, right? When I started, I had a small backyard, like tiny, on a 1/10 of an acre, including the house. So really a tiny backyard. I had fruit trees, chickens, a big garden. Rain barrels were important to me in the city. So that's where I started at, and you never know where your journey is going to take you, right? So your starting point is probably not going to be your end point. So if it's something you love doing, you know, start a garden, start those chickens. Actually, I would start with bees, because bees are just amazing. And I mean, you know, this may be our forever farm. It may not be. But it's a place that we're always going to be improving, because I'm not going to live my life with the intentions that, hey, things might be different in the future. We might move to a bigger property even, but I don't want to, you know, let the future what if affect what I'm doing right now, right? I may be on this farm when I'm 80 years old. I'm always improving, and I'm not going to stop improving. And eventually this homestead is going to be perfect for my family and for me. And years later, we'll look back on all of this hard work and see that it was us who made it a farm and a place that we call home. So if you enjoy our videos, comment, subscribe, and tell me about your homestead dreams. I would love to know what you're planning on doing this spring. Just leave that in the comments below, and stay warm out there.